listening to Sports Talk 916 with Greg Bull and Coach Greg Baroza.
If you'd like to participate in the show and listen live, there's a number of ways to do it. You can go to the Mixlr app, or you can follow us on Facebook Live every Sunday. You can also go on the wildfireradio.com website and listen to us Tuesdays at 3 o'clock Eastern, 12 o'clock Pacific. And if you want to contact us, head over to our website at sportstalk916.com. There you'll find all of our social media feeds, bonus after-hours content that you won't hear anywhere else.
Well, it's Sunday. Can you hear me? Okay, I can't hear myself at all. It's Sunday, and it's week 2 of NFL season, and this is episode number 254 of your favorite Sunday morning at 9 o'clock Pacific sports talk show, Sports Talk 916. I'm Coach Greg. Right there is Mr. Chief, Greg Bull. What's up?
What up?
Nothing
I guess
much.
I should probably bring this over here and talking to it.
Right?
I'm just sitting here chilling, whatever. How goes it?
It's going, man. It's been a crazy week.
Yeah, what happened?
Oh, just a lot of work. A couple water polo games, water polo tournaments, condos moving along. I just got nothing really amazing, just a lot of shit going on. How about you? How you feeling?
Feeling good. Healing up slowly.
Good.
Not slowly, but it's not fast enough. I want to get back to my normal shit.
And what do they say?
Probably another week or two.
Oh, okay.
So it's not terrible, but it's not good either. Let's see. So
Had a little big doing in Sports Talk 916 land last week with the involving one of our listeners and a certain hockey team. Did you hear about that?
Yeah. Steve Cropper, one of our newest folks. Got a visit from the San Jose Sharks and got a visit from one of his favorite players ever of the San Jose Sharks. And it was just a lot of really cool, really cool stuff happening for him. He was all over the news, all over social media about it. I'm going to go ahead and share the post right now so you guys can see it and look at this guy's
Shrine.
Man cave or shrine, if you will. It is unbelievable the amount of stuff that that Steve has in his house. It's ridiculous. Probably the biggest Sharks fan I would say ever, based on memorabilia. And it's crazy. So he has all but 4 players ever to play for the Sharks on an autographed puck in his house.
Holy shit.
All but 4.
Wow.
Like, let that sink in. There's, 20 guys?
25 guys, yeah.
On a roster. They've been around since 94. So we're looking at 24 years of players. What's that? 35?
That's a lot.
Yeah, a whole shitload. Too much math this early in the morning.
Right.
And he has all but 4 of them.
Wow.
So
What if he has plans to try to get the other 4?
I have a deep.
I think one of them might be passed away. One of them got killed in a car wreck. So I don't know if it's one that he doesn't have or not. But be interesting to find out who the 4 are.
Yeah, it would be, and I have a big feeling that the Sharks are going to be like, hey, we need to get those 4 guys for him.
Right. And why? What was the? What brought on the visit?
So he was in a contest online.
Was he?
And he won. And he's a little upset that the news ran so hard with his medical stuff. He wanted it more about his collection and the fact that he's just a diehard fan. But you know how the news is; they have to pull on heartstrings if they can. And but anyways, it was pretty damn awesome to see. I just shared the video on our page, and it'll be a good one. Mark says who you got? Packers versus Vikings. Explain your answer. We'll get to that here in a little bit. When
No,
we
I
get-
think what he's saying is he looked at our picks, and I have the Packers over the Vikings.
he can't see your picks.
Oh, you can't?
No, you can't see people's
Oh.
picks until the game starts. So we'll get to that in a second. The Sharks did make some news this week. The season's like 20 something, 25, 30 days away. It's getting pretty damn close
Yeah,
for
they're-
hockey to kick off
yeah.
again or face off again. And
For the puck to drop.
right. And the
And you're a hockey fan this year, right?
I'm gonna try. The Sharks made a big trade.
Mm-hmm.
They get. I'm trying to pull up the details of it, but basically, the Sharks just jumped into the top echelon of the West, as if they weren't already there.
Right. One of the radio stations was interviewing one of the, I think he's a former Sharks analyst. Last question they asked, they just came point blank, are the Sharks now the favorite in the West? And this guy who knows his stuff pretty much said, without a doubt.
So they traded DeMillo, Norris, and a few picks to the Senators for Erik Karlsson. Ottawa Senators for Erik Karlsson. Karlsson has been they have names for the trophies. I need to learn them, but basically an MVP for 2 different years. He's been a top goal scorer. He's been a top point scorer. He's been, are we supposed to get a link for our pool? I sent you the link, James. I'll have to send it again. Just one of the top defensemen in all of hockey. And now with Karlsson being added in, you had him with Brent Burns.
It was a
And-
Norris Trophy.
The North
I think that's the MVP of the league.
Anyways, you had him in with Brett Burns, and now the Sharks have two dominant players running side by side. Since the start of the 2014-2015 season, there are 2 guys in the league with the most points as defensemen, and that's Brett Burns at 278 points and Erik Karlsson with 281.
Wow.
So that tells you there's going to be a little bit of a battery going on there. Just gives me something to be excited about. And dude looks cool. And dude, he had a press conference leaving Ottawa, and he was upset, and he was super, going on about it. But it's the Hart Trophy. But either way, super excited for the Sharks for that move. Season's coming up quick. I'm looking forward to it.
I think the Norris Trophy is the best defenseman, and I think that's what those guys usually win. So he probably did win the Norris Trophy.
Let's see. The A's
And
are...
just
Go ahead,
to finish up on that thing, there was some kind of drama going on in Ottawa between him and some other guy, and their wives got involved in it, having to do with tweets. And the other guy, one of the guys, had a child that was stillborn, and somebody else's wife made a big deal about it, and it was. I accused the other wife of being on drugs, something really bad. So I think Ottawa just decided we just need to clean house and get rid of the drama. So I think I don't see that drama coming with him to San Jose, but yeah, it's going to be fun. I'm a
You messed it up. It was working perfect, and then you bumped it. There you go.
really.
Yeah, really.
Wow. So it's going to be fun to watch the Sharks. I'm a fringe fan at best, so I try to watch a few games here and there. So it'll be fun.
For sure. Let's see here. A couple of second and third blue liners is the picks that have the value, but the Sharks will be drafting late. Fleets the Sens on that deal, for sure. Excuse me. Speaking of getting fleeced, Oakland A's. The A's are as good as they're playing, and as good as Chris Davis is playing, and as good as this team is just bonding, you got to think that this team is in trouble. They're pitching. They don't have a pitcher in their rotation right now that was active on opening day. Not one active starter. Sean Manaea, who was the breakout star of the year for the A's, is done until 2020. He's having shoulder surgery. He's out for the entire year. Their other starters are all dropping like flies. They're talking about bullpenning. Excuse me. They're talking about bullpenning the wild card game. Possibly starting the game with Fernando Rodney as their starter to get into the bullpen after a couple of innings. And, is there any chance for the A's? Maybe it works in a wild card game, but is there any chance for them to prolong the playoff run and the Cinderella story without legitimate starting pitching?
No, I mean, I think you're right. I think in a one game playoff, they can get lucky and beat somebody. I don't think they'll beat the Yankees. I think I think they'll get in and it'll be one and done for the A's. But who knows? I mean, this team there's something there. And I think there's a little magic dust that's been spilled on them.
There's
so
a lot more than something there.
I know. I mean, offensively, they're I don't think anybody can match them. Except maybe for the Yankees. It's it's a crapshoot at best, and with the lack of experience pitching that they have, who knows? In a short series, starting pitching is everything. I mean, we've seen it before with the Giants, where if you dominate starting pitching, you can win a World Series. I just don't think they have it. I don't think there's enough there. You can't win in the playoffs with just hitting. It's got to be pitching.
I agree. Do you think this puts a lot of pressure on? Do you think this puts a lot of pressure on Billy Beane to figure out what he can do or what he needs to do to bolster this team and actually go out and spend money to keep this hot streak going? Or do you think he falls back into the general mode that is Billy Beane and the Oakland A's, and he just goes, well, we had a good run and it's time for us to go ahead and start over?
I don't think he can. I mean, I think he's got to try to keep this run going. And I don't know. He's done stupid things before. He's broken up teams before when people were going to get paid. I don't know. I mean, with as many guys as they have on the disabled list that aren't going to play next year, I don't know. It's even if he's even going to be there, there's been some talk that if Sabian gets let go from the Giants, that Billy Beane could move across the bay. So who knows if he's there? I mean, in the past he's kept things alive for a couple of years, and when all those contracts get come up due, he gets rid of everybody. I don't know. I quit a long time ago trying to figure out what Billy Beane's going to do year to year.
I'm pretty sure most people quit with Billy Beane's figuring out what Billy Beane's going to do
Right.
year to year. James, I just sent you a link to the sign-up page for our Pick'em. It should just be like, hey, you're already part of this league. And for anyone else that wants to join our NFL Pick'em, I just posted a link on our page. You can join in. It's not too late. No one did good week one, so anybody has a chance to come back and win this.
With a week, I think TJ did all right.
TJ did good.
TJ did good.
I did terrible.
And I did just a little better than terrible.
It really makes me think that I should stop giving any kind of advice for anybody. But it is what it is. Across the bay, the Giants lost 10 in a row. Looked like crap. Colorado comes into town in first place, looking to lock up the division. Giants shut them out 2 days in a row. They're starting to play better baseball again, which makes no sense.
And their best pitcher for the last month and a half or 2 months. That was loud.
Yep.
Best pitcher for the last couple of months is thrown today. So, if I'm Colorado,
is it Rodriguez today or is it?
Yeah, it's Rodriguez. So if I'm Colorado, I got to be worried a little bit.
Josh, you did win the last 2 years. New guys making the decisions on who they keep and the other players, the choices, how much money we spend. I hope so. That's going back in reference to the A's. But yeah, the Giants have a lot of question marks going into this offseason. And the big one that's coming up as of late is manager Bruce Bochy. So Bochy has gone out on record and said that he wants to coach this team another year.
And his contract is up after next year.
Right. He has one more year in his deal. The Giants front office, on the flip side of that, has been 100% non-committal. They have not made it clear what their intentions are, if they plan to keep Bochy, if they plan to let him go out of his contract, if they're going to do what they did with Brigetti and everyone else last year and restructure his role and maybe move him into the front office or do whatever they're going to do with him.
That seems to be what they do, is move everybody to the front office.
Right. Biggest front office in sports. There's like 700 people just sitting there in a big ass office that's in the front of AT&T Park. They don't do anything. They're just literally in the front office.
We don't fire you. We don't trade you. We just put you in the front office.
Right. So what do you think happens with let me ask you a two-part question.
Okay.
What do you think happens with Bruce Bochy, and what do you want to have happen with Bruce Bochy?
What I think is going to happen to Bruce Bochy is I think he's going to get to coach one more year. He's going to manage. He'll manage the team next year. It'll be kind of his farewell tour, and then he'll retire. He's had some health issues in the last couple of years. I don't think he's going to go on beyond the end of his contract. That's what I think. That's what I want. I don't put this on Bruce Bochy at all.
Oh, no.
I don't put this team on Bruce Bochy at all. He doesn't have. It's the front office that signed these guys to big, huge contracts that handcuffed them to be able to do anything.
Right.
There's one guy. There's one guy. We've talked about him in the past and how much we don't like him. That should be the first guy to go.
I say he's an idiot.
Exactly. That's the first thing that has to happen. And I don't know if Sabian survives. I mean, he's done nothing really. He took things over last year, but
and I think Sabian did a good job trying to do with what he could.
Yeah.
The McCutchen deal didn't work out as great, but they got two pretty good prospects from New York in the deal.
And McCutchen, I mean, he was serviceable. He did a good job. I mean, and I think the reason they traded him wasn't because he didn't work out. It was because the Giants weren't going anywhere,
and he
deserves to be somewhere where they have a chance of winning something. So right. I don't think that I don't classify that as a failure. I don't classify it as a big success. Longoria has been kind of he's been hurt a lot.
See, I'm okay with the Longoria deal because there is still longevity. Give him a chance to get used to the National League. I figure this was his his wake up year. Give him a chance to get used to it. He's been in the AL for so long.
Right.
It's a different body. It's a different body at work. It's a different beast. So I give him a honeymoon year. Now next year, if he's as he was this year, then there's a big problem because then you got to figure out the third base future. But back to Boch, I mean, injuries again. I mean, this team it started on the final day of spring training or final week of spring training when Bumgarner took that line drive off the hand.
But even after that, there's one other injury I think that's hurt this team more than anything else. They came out of the gate pretty good. They were playing pretty well. Go back and look at when Pablo got hurt. And when Pablo got hurt, they were still playing well, and from then on, they pretty much sucked.
Did you think that on the 16th of September in 2018, we'd be talking about Pablo Sandoval being a big key injury for the San Francisco Giants?
No. And I think it was as much his play because he was able to do so much and spell so many different players. I think it was his presence in the locker room.
Yeah, absolutely.
And when we interviewed Bochy at the River Cats game, he said that. He said that the thing that Pablo brought to the team that nobody else had in a while was just the leadership.
He's a glue guy.
Yeah, and keeping everybody lighthearted and cutting out the tension that's on the team. And let's face it, Posey's the leader of the team, but he's as dry and as boring as anybody else.
You leave him alone.
I'm just saying.
He's probably napping right now.
He probably is. And Pablo brought the life to this team. And I think that the biggest thing that's happened this Baumgartner injury was Pablo getting hurt.
Yeah, and I agree. And then, you work in the reoccurring story as well. Brandon Belt starts out hot. Brandon Belt gets hurt. Now, the appendectomy, that's completely out of his control. You can't do anything about that. It just happens to suck. And then he hyperextends his knee running to first base. That's a freak accident. And then he just never bounced back. And
But every year it's a freak accident with him. You know, a couple years ago it was in infield practice, ball bounced up and hit him in the head, and he was out for 3 or 4 weeks with a concussion and never came back any better. I mean, this guy he's got as much talent as any first baseman in the game. God, dude's just unlucky.
Right. And I think he was on pace for a good year, and the appendectomy happened, and then he was out of stride. He lost his rhythm, and then that's when he hurt his knee.
Yeah.
You know, baseball has so many moving parts. If you miss time, it fucks you up.
And James just brought up a good point too, is Johnny Cueto for his first 3 starts was untouchable.
Oh,
nobody. I mean,
untouchable doesn't even describe.
I think his ERA was
0.82.
0.8, yeah, something like that. And then all of a sudden he's out now for a year and a half.
Right. Well, first it was hamstring, then it was shoulder, then it was, you know, and then all of a sudden like, oh, he needs Tommy John. You're like, well, what the fuck?
Yeah, where'd that come from?
Yeah. So the Giants, I think, have a core that could still work. Samardzija was hurt too. He had that. You know, Samardzija.
I mean, yeah, but he's been kind of a bust since day one.
Yeah, but he's not as bad as this year indicates. I think Samardzija can bounce back and be that blend of a Barry Zito, Matt Cain, where he fills innings, he's still serviceable. He's not going to be the third ace like they signed him to be.
No.
But I don't think he's going to be like the 8th starter like he should be right now. I mean, when you have a core injury and a chest injury, it's not easy to come back because everything with pitching involves that area of your body.
Yep.
And it just fucks you up. So
there's
a lot going on. I think the Giants bounce back. I hope Bochy sticks around. I really do. He's just fun to talk to. He's fun to be around. James says, Madison, Suarez, D-Rod, makings of a good rotation. Good pin with Strickland, Smith, and Watson. Absolutely.
Except the Strickland part.
No, I think Strickland will be fine. Strickland, his problem this year was up here, not here. Yeah. And what's funny is, or I guess where I give him the pass is it was the competitive nature that he was upset about blowing a game. So I like the fact that he didn't just shrug it off like a lot of pitchers. Oh, well, you know, I'll get the next one. He was upset about it, which I'm good because there was a lot of talk about Strickland not being fully focused on baseball for years. About, oh, he just wants to get through the season and get to hunting and doing all this, whatever. This shows that he was recommitted, and he worked in the offseason with Smoltz to get that slider, and he did so much for this year that I'm okay with him.
See, I'm
okay with him being pissed off about losing the game.
Well, yeah.
In the moment, but he has to be able to shrug it off. Once you leave the field, you got to let it go. You can't go punching walls and shit.
Well, that goes to his decision making. I mean, he's just he doesn't take time to think about what he's doing, and we've seen that in the past where he lets his emotions get carried away, and I think that's what happened, you know, when he had the issues, you know, plunking batters that he thought was, you know.
Yeah, I think he'll be fine though. I think that was a wake up call for him.
I hope so.
I mean, the second he hurt his hand, and I know social media doesn't paint an entire picture. But if you go back and look at Strickland's Instagram before the injury, there were baseball posts, there were hunting posts, there were family posts, there were just a whole array of everything going on in his life, right? Mm-hmm. Like he wanted people like to look at me. He breaks his hand, punching a wall. He puts a post on Instagram apologizing for his actions to the fans, saying he let them all down and his teammates. Since then, and there might be 1 or 2 of his kids sprinkled in there, everything that Hunter Strickland has posted is baseball.
Really?
He's in Sacramento working on rehab. He's doing this in rehab. He had a start. He had this. He had that. It's all been focused. So hopefully it was a wake-up call for him because there's not a lot of guys that can throw 97 to 99 with control, with that tenacity.
What is that?
So my neighbor... Side note, my neighbor has a peach tree and they hang reflective strips off of it to keep the birds away from them, and it sucks. But
shining in the window.
So I think he'll be fine. I think he'll bounce back. And I really like Serena. We're not even going to get into that.
I think we should.
We got to talk football here.
We will.
We could talk.
We'll talk it at the end. We'll talk about it at the end.
So there's a lot going on that I think Strickland will be fine. So I think the Giants will be okay going into next year.
They got to get some consistent bats though, and what they don't need. I mean, yeah, it'd be nice to have somebody who'd hit 30, 35, 40 home runs every year. I would be just as happy given their ballpark, and they're not going to change the configuration of AT&T. It's not going to happen.
I think I'm on the other side of that. I think eventually what's going to happen is that center field garden and area is going to be made smaller. They're gonna shorten the wall in Triples Alley, and they're gonna move the bullpens back behind the wall.
It could.
I think that with safety concerns and how many players right now, it's an advantage because the only people that fall on those mounds seemingly are visiting players. Once a Giants player, let's say they call, look at Williamson.
Yeah,
Mac Williamson went down in that corner.
Yep.
Once another prominent player on the Giants, especially a young guy, let's say, I know Joey Bart doesn't play in the outfield, but let's say Joey Bart wasn't a catcher, but he was a left fielder. He runs over there and trips on a wall and wrists on the mound and almost gets hurt, and that's a future piece. The next homestand, that shit's gone. It'll be a lot like what the Phillies did back in 2009 when Aaron Rowan busted his face on the chain link fence. The second the Phillies hit the road, that whole fence was redone and padded and changed.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, it's going to take something like that to happen. So I think the park does get smaller in the next couple of years, and I think that benefits the Giants' up and coming players because they do have guys that can hit. It's just they can't hit in AT&T Park.
But other teams do. Other teams come in and they hit home runs. I don't think it's the park. I think it's, and I know he's a freak, and I know that he's not a human being, and I know that he was, a lot bigger and had a bigger head back then. But you got the guy who's hit the most home runs in the history of baseball that played at that park. And he hit them, and he hit them farther than anybody else did, but so much farther that you can get guys that can hit to right field. The problem is they don't have the guys that can hit home runs. So what they need to do, the players that they need right now, before they make any changes to the park, are guys like they went after last year, McCutchen. The reason they got McCutchen wasn't because he was such a great power hitter. It's because he's a doubles hitter. He was a triples hitter. He could take advantage of what the park gave, and he just wasn't able to do that. And I think that if they can go get a couple of guys that hit 15, 20 triples a year, somebody who can hit 30 doubles a year.
I'll tell you how to fix that. And it's not necessary. The Giants have those guys. Okay, they have the guys that can hit the home runs and the triples and all that other stuff. The problem is every one of those guys that can do that right now in the Giants system, that's from the right-hand side of the plate.
Yeah.
If they can go out and get
some left field,
if they can go out and get a Andrew McCutchen who's a lefty, or a Bryce Harper who's a lefty, or someone with the bat that's left-handed. You mentioned Barry Bonds. Bonds had the success he had because of his left hand.
Yeah.
That wall is big in right field, but it's easier to hit a home run in AT&T Park from the left side of the plate over that wall than it is to hit a home run in AT&T Park from the right side anywhere because of the wind. Now, if you have a guy like, let's say Buster Posey, if Posey was left-handed, Posey would lead the league in doubles and home runs, or maybe not home runs, but doubles and maybe even triples every single year because he has that gap power. If you have a guy that can hit the ball into the gap consistently off of Triples Alley, high off, he's going to run.
Well, the two of those guys that can do that are the two Brandons. Brandon Belt, he can hit home runs, but he hits a shit ton of doubles too.
Right, and that's because he has the advantage of dropping it high off that wall.
Right, and he's just hurt. Can you
imagine if Longoria right now was left-handed? How many balls this year did Longoria smack out to left center at AT&T Park that were just tracked down by a center fielder?
Yeah, that went 395 feet
for nothing.
You were right.
If you put him on the left-hand side, every one of those bounces off of Triples Alley and he's running.
Yeah.
That's all it is. It's the Giants just need to figure out a way. If Bonds was right-handed, Bonds doesn't hit half the amount of home runs he hits in AT&T Park because the ball would just die.
Right.
Bonds had the advantage of hitting a high home run, and if it wasn't a home run, it was a missile off those bricks. And when you have a visiting outfielder out there playing off of a bunch of bricks with a bunch of nooks and crannies that a ball can bounce off of in any which way, you have extra offense.
Yeah.
So, hey, Evans, I know you listened because you've got rid of players we've talked about in the past. This year, I don't want to see anyone but left-handers signed. And to touch on Josh's things, we've got to get over to football.
I know.
To touch on Josh, the farm system is getting better. The pitching's getting better. They do have some power bats like we just talked about. The problem is they're all right-handed.
Yeah.
And it's going to be tough for those guys to succeed. For example, good example, Chris Shaw. He came up. He has 27 home runs, 26 home runs in AAA. He can't hit the ball out of the park at AT&T Park.
He can't hit the ball.
It just gets lost. Mac Williamson crushed everything he saw in Sacramento and on the road in AAA. He couldn't do much in AT&T Park because he's right-handed. If he was left-handed, Mac Williamson's still up with the Giants and killing it right now.
And the other part of Josh's point is San Francisco is never going to start over again. They're never going to get rid of everybody because they draw $3 million a year and people are coming to watch those guys. If you get rid of them, their bankroll goes away. I mean, it's going to be, or not goes away, but it's hit hard.
I think that they do get rid of,
who are they going to get? Who's going to give you anything for Brandon Bell? Nobody's going to give you anything.
I think an American League team that can DH him at times when he starts to slump a little bit and just get him at bats where he can focus will work well. A team that needs a good glove. He's one of the best fielding
absolutely.
in baseball. I think there's still hope for trade value there. It's just a big contract.
They're two play. They don't. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, yours loud.
I'm sorry.
Panic has value. Bumgarner, I think, is the one that gets traded. He has a year left. I think that I literally think that you're going to see a Aroldis Chapman 2.0. The Giants are going to trade Bumgarner either in spring training or elsewhere, and he's going to end up coming back. They're going to get a haul for him. But here's the thing that needs to happen. Even if they keep Bumgarner, which if they had to give him a $200 million contract, I'd be okay with that because he's a different type of pitcher. He's gonna last that contract. What I want to see happen is the Giants come together, Bear.
Hopefully not Evans.
Oh, I don't care who it is. Sabian, everybody. Get Brunell, the PA announcer, get Kruk and Kipe, get everybody together and have an intervention for Buster Posey. And have a spreadsheet that says your ankle, your leg, your hip, your this, your that, your everything that's happened in your career is because you're in the squat behind the dish. We just drafted Joey Bart. He's going to be the future catcher. We need to move you to first base. And sit him down and show him the pros and cons of what's going to take in order for him to prolong his career. And then at the very last second, you go, hey, come here. And Brandon Belt walks in. He's like, Posey, I endorse this. I'm going to Arizona right now. I'm working on left field. I'm going to be our new left fielder from here on out. Take over first base. It's yours. Let's do this. And show the camaraderie and get those guys together on the same page. And Posey's glove is just as good as at first base as it is behind the dish, if not better. And TJ, I hate you. Watch Belt hit 30 home runs as soon as he leaves. See Adam Duvall. Exactly. But anyways, there's a lot to talk. We could talk Giants until we're blue in the face, but we want to talk some football. So real quick, we're going to reset. We're going to play our Tony Pacheco audio, and then we're going to talk about week 2. I think it'd be a good fit for Bell. Oh, Houston. Oh, you put Brandon Bell on Houston?
Oh, God.
That's nasty. All right. Whoa, what the fuck? Not the prices, right? Hey, guys, I'm excited to announce a new partnership with Antonio Pacheco from Folsom Lake Ford. Tony has been my go-to sales guy for a number of years, and he's come on board to bring the awesome sales buying experience to each and every one of you. All of his information is on our website at sportstalk916.com, but if you're in a hurry and you're looking for a new car, give him a call today, Antonio Pacheco, area code 530-218-7069. He will answer all of your questions in regards to the car buying experience, and he is the main guy that I trust in the Sacramento area for all of your car buying needs. Again, Antonio Pacheco, Folsom Lake Ford, 530-218-7069. All right, we're back. Let's start with no, we're just, here. Can't not have it. That's enough of that. Let's start with the Raiders, because there is so much going on right now about the Raiders. Hey, and real quick, anyone that's on right now, we had like 15 a minute ago, and now it's back down to 5. If any of you guys are in any kind of football discussion talks, fantasy football groups, Niner pages, Raider pages, anything like that, share this link. Let's get some activity going. And the Niners don't play at 10 today, so if we go past 10, I'm okay with it.
Right.
Let's get some discussion going, and let's get some more people in here. I'm going to do a share as well. Oakland Raiders. There is. Oh, come on, that's me. That's my bad. There's a lot of worry right now around the Oakland Raiders.
Should be.
And it's not even about the play on the field. It's the, how do I want to put this in a nice way?
Ownership.
It's the bowl cut in the visor that people are worried about. And it started with the Khalil Mack trade. And
no, it started well before that.
Well, it started in like 1965 when Al Davis bought the team.
No, it started when they gave Gruden $100 million year contract. At that point, you have one of the top general managers in the NFL, in McKenzie, getting pushed to the side. It's like, hey, we just gave him $100 million. You think we're going to listen to you? No. Right. So you just rendered him useless.
Yep.
And Gruden's got an ego, and Gruden wants to play what Gruden wants to play, not what's effective this time, right about now in the NFL. So that was when things started going downhill for the Raiders.
James, don't jump ahead of me. Don't jump ahead of me. But you're right on. Yeah, that was the big thing. And then now there's so much speculation coming out of Oakland. It's almost scary. So
yeah.
The big one is what James just touched on. The Raiders are gonna get rid of Derek Carr.
Yeah.
And you weren't high on Derek Carr when he first came out.
Nope.
You changed your story on him last year.
Yep.
But if you look at the last 5 games, including this season, Derek Carr is that guy that you said he was. He's not performing to that contract. And there's so much talk about, is he really the QB of the future? Does he fit John Gruden's system? What, yada, yada, yada. If the Raiders decide to move Derek Carr, whether they trade him this year and give the reins to AJ McCarron, or cut him next year, making him a free agent. And the next part of this is key. The Raiders save $15 million next year on the cap.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of people are like, oh, well, that's just $15 million. It's a football team. The problem is it's the Raiders.
Right.
And it's going to be messy. The Raiders are going to, if they start, and Josh just said it's going to be a 2-14 season for them, and I can totally see that.
Oh, absolutely.
If they get to week 10, which is the deadline, right? Week 8, week 10?
Week 10.
If they get to the point where they have zero shot, and they will because the AFC West is stacked, you're going to see Derek Carr likely get traded this year. Or they're going to bench him, and they're just going to put all the onus on him that, oh, this is all his fault. And Raider fans are going to be up in arms and stop going to games or they may still go to games, but they're not going to be as supportive. They're not going to be as loud. They're not going to be as crazy. And Mark Davis is going to weasel his way into a press conference that says, well, the fans of Oakland have given up on us, so we're moving early. And
Right.
we're going to get the fuck out of Oakland, and we're going to go play a year at UNLV, and we're not even going to give two thoughts about it. And Raider fans are going to be left with a big old middle finger sticking up out of Mount Davis at the end of the season.
Yep.
And it fits the mold perfectly of what Mark Davis wants to do. I said it a couple weeks ago. You mentioned the money thing. And I said that the Khalil Mack deal is the first step in pissing off the Raider fans so they can get out of town early. And then Oakland decided they're going to sue the Raiders. And that was just another reason that they're going to leave. So we're not going to see Oakland Raider football next season.
No.
And they're probably going to trade him for something low. Like Josh just said, I can see him trading him for a third and a fifth, maybe a second and a fourth if they can get it from a team that needs a QB. Be very, very cautious, or I don't think cautious is the word I'm looking for. Be very diligent on your searching for rumors and stories if a team has a quarterback go down
Oh, yeah,
in
absolutely.
the next 3 or 4 weeks. Because then the Raiders are going to be like, hey, let's just make the deal now. James mentions Joe Flacco. Flacco is the epitome of John Gruden quarterback. He's a younger Rich Gannon.
Yep.
And it's going to suck. And we jump on Raider fans a lot. But I'm really starting to be empathetic for these guys, especially the ones that are super loyal. For example, Patrick Kilkenny's on all the time, right? He is as loyal as it comes to the Raiders. My wife's a Raider fan. She has family that's been Raider fans forever. We don't mention him a lot. Howard, huge Raider fan. But Eddie, who used to be on the show with us, he's new to Instagram. Instagram's like, hey, follow Eddie Cook. And I'm like, no, I'm good. And he keeps popping up. Well, out of curiosity, I pulled his page up to see what's been going on. And for the first time in his life, and it might be a homage to his dad who passed away, but he's a first-time season ticket holder this year.
Oh, really?
Now it's probably just as a farewell tour thing for him, but it's those fans that are loyal enough to know that the team is literally half-packed and ready to go, and they're still supporting this team. They're the ones that are going to get the shaft. And I feel bad for him, and it's going to suck. But the Raiders are on the downward slope, and we mentioned this 2-14 possibility. What the fuck happened to Amari Cooper?
He just disappeared.
Why can't Derek Carr find Amari Cooper? So he's had 11 100-yard games in his career. Okay, 3 years?
Cooper?
4 years. Cooper has.
Okay.
He's also had 9 games with under 10 yards receiving. And six of those 9 are in the last 13 games.
Wow.
How do you have a guy like Amari Cooper who has the potential to be a Calvin Johnson style beast having 9 games under 10 yards? I'm pretty sure that I could go out and get a 9-yard or 10-yard catch once. I might get murdered doing it.
Well, you couldn't against the girls team here in town.
That's because they folded before I could get out there.
Oh, okay.
But I'm just saying, like, man, what that Carter Cooper or the AC/DC connection that so many were talking about, it's dead. And it's just look at this. As a Chiefs fan, I actually feel bad for the real fans.
Wow.
That right there is
Wow.
that sums up. I'm going to go ahead and pin that. That sums up everything that there is to sum up about the Raiders situation right now. When the Chiefs fans are upset about what the hell is going on.
I was just thinking about this. Carr had a good year 2 years ago, right?
And got paid.
Right. Who was his running back?
Wasn't it Latavius Murray?
Yep.
Okay.
What happened last year?
They brought in Beast Mode.
And how'd he do?
He did okay.
He did all right, but he wasn't the same kind of running back that Latavius Murray was.
Absolutely not.
How's their offensive line?
Not the greatest.
So how was it 2 years ago? It's pretty damn good, right? So the car, and I'm still not a Carr fan. I mean, I thought he was doing well. He went right back to himself last year, and this year's starting off no different. They aren't helping him out any, though.
Well, and also doesn't help that you got to remember last year that Carr completely removed himself from the protest and the kneeling, and there were reports out of the offensive line, and no one refuted it, that they quit on him and they didn't block properly, so he got lit up a couple times to prove a point, and it ultimately costed him his season last year. If you're going to be a franchise quarterback, you cannot alienate yourself from your offensive line. There are big guys out there that are paid to want to kill you in NFL. If you've ever noticed those big guys on the front end of the defensive line, they have one job. I mean, yeah, they have to stop the run and whatever, but it's kill quarterback.
They make money killing the quarterback.
Yeah, you can't piss off the other guys that are equally as big that protect you.
Right.
You know what I mean? That's like pissing off a cop. Like, oh, I'm going to go out and hang out with these cops because I know that there's a guy trying to kill me, so the police provided me with protection. But I'm going to call him a fat slob, and I'm not going to do this and that or whatever for him, and piss him off to where when dude shows up to shoot me, they just go, oh, I got to take this call. Hold on. You know what I mean? Like, you can't do that. And Carr did that. And I think that exposed him. And I think he has happy feet now, and he's not as confident as he was. And I don't think he's bought into the Gruden thing. And it's going to be one of those things where it's like another big player for the Raiders.
And I'm just going to go back and say, earlier I said the downfall of the Raiders started when they hired Gruden and gave him $100 million. I think I just changed my mind on that. I think the downfall of the Raiders started when they let Latavius Murray go and they signed Lynch.
I don't think so, because the Raiders but that stretch they went on last year before, when they made that playoff run and they were doing great until Carr got hurt in the playoff game, or right before the playoff game. Matt McGloin in the final part of the year.
Right.
That team, when they brought in Lynch, had a whole new dynamic. And the downfall of this team is when Mark Davis found out that the NFL was going to approve a move elsewhere, is when it happened. Because then they literally just said, you know what? We don't give a fuck anymore. We're going to do the Band-Aid thing. We're going to do the Sacramento Kings thing. We're going to bring in the feel-good moves. And they
brought Lynch. They brought Marshawn Lynch.
Lynch was already gone. Or Lynch was already there.
Yeah, but look at Carr. Look at the makeup of Carr. And look at the makeup of Lynch. There couldn't be two people diametrically opposed to each other as those two guys.
But those two guys are probably the closest together of everybody on that roster. They get along. They're great.
I don't know.
I think the downfall of them is Mark Davis and the Davis blood saying, you know what, we're leaving. We don't care anymore. And we're going to move on. And then we're going to get rid of Mac to piss off a few people. And there's still going to be loyals that we need to make sure that we keep around for a little bit. And then now they're probably going to get rid of Carr. And they may get rid of Cooper. And they may just start cutting costs all over the place to the point where they're like, okay, we've alienated down to like 20%. That's enough. We're out of here. And it's always going to be that. It's always going to be anywhere. And Vegas, hey, newsflash, he's not going to get any better. He's going to be the same dick, and that's Mark Davis, in Vegas as he is in Oakland. It's not going to be better. And guess what? They're not going to have the same revenue stream in Vegas. They're not going to make as much money. There's not going to be as many loyal fans as they think, because if they go on the path that we think they're going to go on, guess who's not going to make that 4-hour trip? Guess who's not going to spend a weekend in Vegas for a game? It's going to be those fans that you've pissed off by getting rid of everybody that they love and all the players that they wanted to see around. He's shooting himself in the foot for an unknown market, not knowing how fans in Vegas are going to react. You can't look at hockey and football and say it's going to work the same way. Hell, the WNBA's team this year in Vegas had a hell of a good run. You're not going to see those fans jump over. He's walking a slippery slope, and the problem is he's barefoot. He has no traction.
I think what he's banking on, we've talked about this before too, is he's only got to do it for 7 or 8 games a year, or 10 games a year. So
especially if he keeps going, they're not going to make the playoffs.
No, but if they keep tanking and he ends up with a top 3 or 4 draft pick for the next couple of years, There's a couple guys he can build on. You know, he comes back. Maybe they suck and they end up with the first pick.
I think
Maybe
that's what Gruden wants. Gruden wants his guy to come in and go, hey, look, I drafted this guy. It's all about me.
Right. And that's kind of the allure about Gruden, though, is he's a me guy. He's Chucky. He's, hey, look at me. I'm
say he's an idiot.
Yeah. Look at me. All the commercials and how silly he acts in some of those commercials.
You know who else is a me guy?
Brock Lesnar.
Oh, God.
He is. Pay-per-view day. Right there.
Whatever.
Right. How the fuck? There it is.
No.
Right there.
Oh.
I was trying to figure out which way my finger had to go.
Right there?
There you go.
Those,
Nope.
that way.
Hey. Yeah, there it is. I feel bad for Raider fans.
I do
but
too.
Let's talk about something else. The new era in San Francisco 49ers franchise starts today at home.
Starts today.
Garoppolo, new season,
New season
focus.
started last week.
I
He
know,
ended
but
up on his ass
it starts at home today. A bounce back game against the Lions.
because they're playing a shitty team, not a good team.
The Lions.
And wait a minute. Before we get any further, have you changed your mind on the Vikings? You still don't think they're a contender?
I never said they weren't a contender. I said that I don't think Kirk Cousins is going to be the quarterback that they think he's going to be. And let me see how they do today against Green Bay. Because the Niners secondary isn't the best. Their defense isn't the best. Next week is when we start seeing the Niners defense at their best when Foster's back. And when they put Foster next to this young kid, that Watson, I think it is that filled in for him at middle linebacker, holy shit. First of all, ESPN and
Fred?
Fred Watson, yeah.
Is it Watson?
I believe so. Look it up. Anyone in ESPN, CBS, NFL Network, all of those guys that didn't have the 49ers rookie linebacker on their rookie of the week need to be fucking fired. He had a forced fumble on Latavius Murray or on Delvin Cook. He had 13 tackles last week as a rookie being slotted in at the linebacker spot because of a suspension on a whim. How the hell does a rookie with 13 tackles out of the middle linebacker spot not get at least a mention for rookie of the week? Ridiculous. But you put him next to Reuben Foster next week. Fred Warner. It's going to be nasty.
So,
it's going to have the potential of a Bowman Willis combination, and that gets me excited.
Yeah. So not Brian Baldinger, but Brian, who's the guy on the NFL Network? I just had his name a second ago. No. Anyway, the old coach, he coached Baltimore. Brian Billick.
Yeah.
Brian Billick. Brian Billick does a podcast he puts videos on Twitter every week going over the week before. And he spent most of his time talking about Fred Warner, saying that Warner...
Games are locked in, by the way.
Are they?
Yep, we are locked in. So if you made your picks, you got to make them.
Fred Warner is going to come out of this draft as the best player to be drafted by anybody.
Yeah.
Potential rookie of the year. Pretty much good enough to move anybody out of the middle linebacker spot that was going to be...
And you slide him in next to Reuben Foster. Malcolm Smith's not coming back. We don't know what the hell's going on with him. So there's your replacement right there.
Yeah. No. So that was a damn good draft pick.
Amazing draft pick. I think Garoppolo, as weird as it sounds, last week's loss was the best thing to happen to the 49ers this whole season. Because so many people were elevating this Niners team to heights that were unheard of. Garoppolo's the next coming of Jesus. He's the next GOAT. He's this, he's that. It allowed him to pump his brakes and James trade Malcolm Smith for Josh Gordon. It allowed him him and the Niners to pump their brakes on Jimmy Garoppolo hype train. He's not undefeated anymore. He's not a perfect starter. He's human. He has to work on things. The team knows now that they have to stop dropping passes. I think you're going to see a much more polished and refined Jimmy Garoppolo this week than last, because all of that, I don't want to say unnecessary, because a lot of it was, there is necessity to it because he is a good quarterback. But all of that added focus on, can he keep his undefeated streak alive? And can he be the next guy? And is he worth all this money? All of that talk is on the back burner. Now it's football.
Yeah.
And I think the Lions coming in after they got shredded by Josh Allen and the Jets is the perfect
They're
game
a train wreck.
for
They are
Garoppolo
a
to-
train wreck.
for Garoppolo to come in and go, you know what? I'm just going to play football. And yeah, James, a lot of people aren't making picks. It's like 4 of us or 5 of us that are doing it. Josh, if you want to get back in on the pick'em and you didn't get them, send me a message and I'll put your picks in. If you didn't get the link early enough, and that goes for anybody. If anybody wants to get in on it, sign up and I'll get your picks in for week 2. But you got to do it in the next 10, 15 minutes. I'm not going to let you send me picks tomorrow night. Like, oh yeah, I picked all these games right. ESPN also is reciprocating a lot of what I said. George Kittle is going to be the breakout offensive player of the year.
Yeah.
He's going to be the best tight end in the league, and it showed last week why. Aside from that one drop pass, he had a great game, and I think he's going to be he was the most targeted tight end of all. The Jets last week ate Detroit up with their tight end play. You're going to see the same today, which excites the hell out of me. It's going to be good. There was a lot of talk last week after the drops and after Morris's fumbles, and Breida looked okay about Le'Veon Bell. And luckily that started to slow a little bit. People are starting to notice that without Pittsburgh rescinding that franchise tag, you're not going to trade for him because you're paying full car price for a rental car for 8 weeks.
Right.
That'd be like going to Enterprise and going, hey, I want to rent that Mustang for a weekend trip. And they're like, okay, that's great. Well, you're going to pay us for a full car price car payment. Oh, you want that car for the weekend? Great. It's $700 a day. And you're like, what the fuck? Well, we know its value. Okay, well, it doesn't work that way. I'm not going to do that. That's what the Niners would essentially be doing if they traded today. San Francisco loses today and they trade for Bell.
Yeah, he's been saying that all week.
If their running game is weak, possibly, but the other thing was Des Bryant's name came up so much. Drop pass, drop pass, drop pass. I'm hopeful because I said this early in the year. I said this last year when he was coming back. I drafted him on my fantasy team 3 out of 4 leagues. And every time I play in Madden, I go out and I trade for this guy. The Niners need to be on the phone with Cleveland and getting Josh Gordon here to San Francisco. He is a younger, faster, bigger Des Bryant in the sense that he creates problems. Look at what he did last week against Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
With Tyrod Taylor throwing the ball, and he was throwing him ducks, and he was going out and getting them. If you could get Gordon for a 4th-round pick,
I think that's exactly what you could get for him.
3rd-round pick, if you have to compete with other teams, you do it. Because look at this. You missed out on Khalil Mack by 1 draft pick.
Yep.
The Niners missed out by they didn't want to throw out another 1st-round pick. And I think that will not sit very well with Gruden, knowing that he was 1 draft pick away from getting the best and Shanny was his OC. Shanny and Gordon have a relationship.
Yeah.
I think Lynch is going to be aggressive with it, especially even if they don't. He knows they need weapons. Marquise Goodwin's out again. If Goodwin's deep leg bruise keeps him out another week, or even, if it shows
probably
that they don't
2 or 3 weeks.
If they don't have that deep ball threat today, if Pettis can't get separation or if Bourne can't do anything, I think Josh Gordon becomes a 49er before the weekend's over. Because the Browns, if they don't trade for him, and if the Browns don't trade him, and I find it very difficult for a GM to orchestrate a trade on game day, just because there's so much going on, right?
Right.
The Browns have already said that they're going to release Gordon tomorrow, which basically was then put out a press conference saying, or a press release saying, hey, Josh Gordon's available for trade. We're giving you guys 3 days. Gordon came out today and said there's 2 teams he wants to sign with should he become a free agent. That's the Dallas Cowboys and the San Francisco 49ers. And if Josh Gordon isn't high as a kite, which, and by the way, anyone labeling him a druggie because he smokes weed, you're fucking stupid. That doesn't classify you as a druggie. It's just he has a problem. Or he has a hobby, because it's not even really that bad. If he's not...
Well, the problem was he was mixing that with alcohol.
Right.
And it was...
That still doesn't make you a druggie. That makes you an alcoholic.
Yeah.
If Gordon has any right mind and he becomes a free agent, you look at the intangibles. Jason Garrett and Dak Prescott, or Kyle Shanahan and Jimmy Garoppolo. You pretty much find out the number that the Cowboys are going to be calling you from, and you block it until you talk to the 49ers. You don't want to accidentally pick up the wrong phone call. James says perhaps they're waiting for a piss test to come back. By all accounts, it had nothing to do with anything drug-related at all. He practiced all week, went to a promo that he was scheduled to do by the team, and hurt his hamstring there. So I think the Browns...
Do you really think that was the case?
I
mean,
think
do you really think?
And he was late to reporting to practice or to the meetings yesterday. I think the Browns have been looking for a way to wash their hands of Josh Gordon.
With all the shit that guy's done, you're gonna cut him or trade him because he was late for a meeting and he pulled his hamstring at a promo that you scheduled.
Yep.
I'm sorry, I don't buy it. I think he tested positive. And they're just trying to protect him.
If he tested positive, then his career is over.
Right.
He'll be out of the league forever. I think that the Browns were, in a way, regretting how much time and effort they put into him. They know that he's going to be gone next season because they're not going to re-sign him. This is their way of going, you know what? He had a great game last week. He looked like the old Josh Gordon. Let's see if we can get something for him because, it's not going to work out here. And his own clothing line, he was hurting a non-team. Okay, so maybe it wasn't something. Maybe that's why. Maybe
that
it wasn't
could be.
something.
I mean, that could be if it's that case because I hadn't heard what the event was. I just heard it was a promo event. So if it was
they were looking like literally, it's like in my mind, it's. Your bosses are literally watching you like a hawk, waiting for you to do something wrong because they want to fire you to save money. But you're the model employee, and they're like, "Fuck, we can't just get rid of him for no reason." Oh, look at that! Look! He was 3 minutes late to work, fired. And I think that's what it was. I think they're looking for a way to, it fucks with the team chemistry. It shows that it's not all about the team. The Browns, I think, were literally just sitting on eggshells, waiting for a reason to get rid of Josh Gordon.
Yeah.
And the hamstring thing aside, because I'm sure he got approval to go do this event because, it's away from team activity, injuries happen. He could have slipped going down the stairs and hurt his ankle at his house. That wouldn't be reason. But the second he was late, it shows that he's not about the team. Boom, we're going to get rid of his ass.
So do you want to bring somebody like that into the 49ers?
Yes, because he has enough respect and camaraderie with Shanahan that I think it stays in check, and it's a fresh start, and it's not the fucking Cleveland Browns.
That's true. We've been pretty much the Cleveland Browns for the last 4 or 5 years.
Maybe, but I would play anywhere but Cleveland. So there's a lot to it. The Marquise Goodwin thing, like I said, sucks. They're going to be without him today. Let's put the Dez Bryant to rest. Let's put the Le'Veon Bell on the back burner just because it's hard to say. What may happen with that. Wait, what? Oh, cancel the transaction. Hold on. Sorry.
You're trying to pick somebody up?
No.
So I today's going to be a big test for the Niners. I think they're going to be hurting at wide receiver. I think the tight ends and the running backs are going to have to make up for that. I think tight ends have a big day today. I'm curious to see what the offensive line looks like, see how those 2 right guards that got hurt, see how they deal with that and how those, how that offensive line as a unit works. Luckily, they're playing a team that's probably about as good as Sac State in the Lions, who could go 0-16 again this year.
Let's be careful on that because we said that the Bucks were going to go 0-16, and Ryan Fitzpatrick had a reincarnation.
Yeah, but they don't have Ryan Fitzpatrick.
But Matthew Stafford has the ability of any other quarterback in the league to figure that out. But yeah, let's pump the brakes a little bit on the 0-16 talk. I think Josh Gordon, he had one catch for 17 yards. It was a touchdown though, and it was in the red zone. It looks good. I'm on board with the Josh Gordon idea. I think he looked good in red and gold. I really do. But it's gonna be crazy. It's gonna be, let's see what happens this week. I'm optimistic about the Niners this week.
That's well, you should be.
Absolutely, and we'll see how that goes.
If they lose to the Lions, it's time to clean house and fire everybody.
Oh, I don't know about fire everybody, but it's time to leverage the future for the now.
Right.
Let's do our picks real quick.
Okay, I'm sorry, but I'm not here to get back in the presidential race. But you never know. I could be swayed. America needs me. Okay, now it's time for the most luxurious, amazing, incredible picks in the world. Mine. I'll take the Ravens to top the Bengals, even though that doesn't make sense because cats eat birds. I'll also take the Rams to beat the Seahawks, but who really cares? My upset pick is the Eagles to beat the Giants, and my wild card is the Bills to sink the Dolphins.
All right, boys, you heard his picks. Now it's your turn. Greg B, who you got?
Well, I'm already starting 0-1, so
Yeah, so did I.
Suck already.
I started 0-1 as well. I took Baltimore,
I did too.
which I think most people took Baltimore, simply for the fact that
Bengals look good.
Bengals looked good last night. But that also goes to show that who did the Ravens smash on last week? Buffalo. Buffalo
Buffalo's
aren't as
horrible.
bad as we thought they were. So you got to really kind of temper your picks now, huh?
Yeah.
Houston, Tennessee.
I have Houston.
So do I.
They're down 6-0.
They're down 6-0. Pittsburgh, KC.
I had KC.
I have Pittsburgh. They're down 7-0. This is a good test. Patrick Mahomes he's going to show up or show out.
And I
Eagles-
actually benched Roethlisberger this week to play Mahomes.
Nice. Eagles, Buccaneers.
I had the Eagles.
So do I. They're down 7-0.
I
Chargers, Bills.
had the chart.
So do I. I have that.
They're up 7-0.
Yep. Panthers, Falcons.
I had Falcons.
So do I. Losing 3-0. We're really good at this. Can you guys tell? Let's see. Colts, Redskins.
I had Redskins.
The Redskins. They're down 7-0. Saints. Jesus Christ. Saints, Browns.
I had Saints.
They're down 3-0 to the Browns. So do I. Jesus. Green Bay, Minnesota.
Now we're going to do much better on these picks because they haven't started playing
No,
yet.
these games already started.
Are they?
Yep. I have Green Bay.
I do too.
They're
It's
tied.
0-0.
I have the Jets over the Dolphins.
I do too.
They're tied 0-0.
Yep.
I have the Niners over the Lions.
Yep.
I have the Rams over the Birds.
Yep.
Over the Redbirds. I have the Broncos over the Raiders.
Yep.
I have the Patriots over the Jaguars.
Yep.
Which I'm going to change. I'm going to take the Jaguars.
Hmm.
That defense is just. I think they want a revenge game. I think that they have this game circled 10 times on their calendar as a revenge game. I have the Giants over the Cowboys.
I had the Cowboys.
You have Dak Prescott's garbage, and I have the Bears over the Seahawks.
I did too.
So it's not looking good. If it were to pan out right now, let's see. We have 1, 2. I would have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 losses in the first part of the week.
I think I'm the same way. I think I'm the same.
No, because you have KC and Pittsburgh.
Yeah. I had 8 losses.
That's crazy stuff right there. Good times. Let's see. Earlier, Green Bay blocks the punt for a touchdown. Nice. Earlier, someone said, what was that initial comment about about the. Do you remember what it was
What's that?
about the Packers and the?
Oh, he just asked who we had.
And they said explain why. I have Green Bay just because I don't yet believe in Kirk Cousins. I want to see him against a real defense.
And I had the Packers because I drafted half of the Packers on my fantasy team,
Right.
so they
And
gotta win.
It depends on Aaron Rodgers, how his legs do, or how his knee does, I should say. What the fuck does that mean? Anyways, anything else? Oh, you wanted to give your hot take on
Serena.
Yep.
So if you saw it, Serena had a meltdown the other day, and it started when she was accused. So her coach got accused of coaching her, and
Wait, are you not allowed to coach?
you're not allowed to coach in certain majors. You're not allowed to communicate with your player as a coach.
Okay, I did not know that.
Yes. So the U.S. Open is one of the few that does not allow that. There's some tournaments where the coach can actually even just come down on the court and talk to him in between points. So she was assessed a warning for her coaching, who came back later on in the day and admitted that he was coaching her, that he was. The chair umpire was right. Serena had a meltdown, and Serena accused the chair umpire of calling her a cheater, which he didn't. He was penalizing the coach, and the only way that you can penalize the coach is by penalizing the player. The player is responsible for their coach's actions. So he was penalizing the player for coaches acting poorly.
Okay.
She went off. You accuse me of a cheater. I would rather lose than cheat. You're assassinating my character. I want an apology.
Okay.
And he said, I'm not giving you an apology. And for probably a good 10 minutes, every time there was a break, she was going off on the chair umpire saying, you need to give me an apology. I want an apology. And just acting like a spoiled little fucking brat.
I did not know that it was a prolonged argument.
Oh, yeah.
I thought it was a end of the match. She lost. She went over. She bitched at him. And I defended her. I said,
No.
Look, if you're upset after a match, I've done it before. You go up to the ref, you air your differences, and you leave. Had I known, maybe if I would have done my research, to know that she was completely blasting him throughout the whole time, I have that same defense for Serena Williams.
So it gets better. It gets
Okay.
better. So there was a call, and I actually watched. I never watched tennis, but this match came on the Tennis Channel or something. I was going by and I saw it, so I watched the whole meltdown process. Call comes up, and I think this is the order. I might have the order messed up. Call comes, and Serena didn't agree with it,
Okay.
so she smashes her racket on the ground. Which I find out, if you do that in tennis, that's an automatic penalty. You lose a point in that that particular game. So if it was 15 love, it went to 30-15 or 30 love. So you get penalized a point. She still kept nagging at the chair umpire that she wanted an apology, that she stole that referee actually stole a point from her, accused him of being a thief, and she would not let it go. So he penalized her a whole game, and it went from 3-all or 3-4 to 5-3. And the Japanese girl ended up it went to 5-3, and then she served out for the win.
She started 14-0 on Pittsburgh.
Cool. So then that kind of started it. And she started saying stuff like it was sexist, because if guys were to do the same thing, they wouldn't get penalized. And guys say much worse things to the chair umpires than Serena ever did. And I agree with her that. Here's the difference.
Most guys say it and then
Exactly.
quit.
Exactly. You say it, you get it off your chest, and you move on. Serena could not move on, and she kept it going
Like a
spoiled little brat.
or like a woman who's in a heated argument. She says her piece, leaves the room, and then pops her head back. Oh, by the way, but it's been 20 minutes. Why the fuck are you still yelling at me?
Right. So now there's this whole brouhaha about, well, you're sexist. And that's not the case. If she would have just left it alone, said her piece, you accuse me of being a cheater. I want an apology. I'm not giving you one. Okay, just move on.
And then file a grievance afterwards.
Right.
File a grievance. There's governing bodies over all professional sports. Have the dude investigated. Have it reviewed. Let someone who's in the power or the position to make those determinations. You are a player. You're paid to play the game. Try to come back and win. You're a better player than the chick you're playing against. But if you're gonna have a
that day, she wasn't.
Yeah, but here's the deal: if you have a meltdown like that and you let it linger, it's like what they say with pitching. If you throw a pitch and it hits a home run, you forget about it and you move on to the next one.
Right.
You throw an interception, you forget about it, you move on to the next one.
Right.
The fact is, she threw an interception, and then every time she threw the ball, she was worried it was going to get intercepted again.
No, she was asking the defensive back for an apology because he intercepted her pass.
Exactly. And then every time she threw him the ball, she would run over there. You going to apologize yet? She doesn't let it go. That takes you out of the game. I guarantee you, if Serena Williams, regardless of who she's playing against, would have just let it go and waited till afterwards, she probably would have come back to win, because you've seen it before where she gets mad at herself and she channels that anger into focus, and then she just rips off 6-7 games in a row and annihilates whoever she's playing with. If she would have done that and shifted her focus to her game, I guarantee you it's an afterthought, because she comes back to win. She says something, you know what, I didn't like the way he handled this. I wish he would have apologized, but I moved on. And that would have been it. But the thing is, she didn't do that, and then it cost her. Blaine Gabbert started for Tennessee today. If I'm going to backtrack a little bit, because we've never really talked about this, but Colin Kaepernick has this collusion case against the NFL. On Thursday, the Tennessee Titans put out a tweet that said Marcus Mariota's out, Blaine Gabbert is our starting quarterback. Colin Kaepernick just needs to screenshot that tweet, and here's my case.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm not high on Colin Kaepernick, but he is a better quarterback and should be starting over fucking Blaine Gabbert. That's his collusion case right there. So
Right.
Go back to Serena.
So Serena. So it gets worse. So they have the post-match award ceremony. Not only did Serena make it about herself, but the announcers made it about Serena. One of the comments they made, and here's this 20-year-old Japanese girl who the day before had said, I'm playing in the finals. They asked her what she was thinking. It's like, I'm playing in the finals of the U.S. Open against Serena. Are you kidding me? If I lose, I'm fine. I'm playing in the finals. The announcer comes to Serena. They interviewed Serena first.
Okay.
And the question was prefaced with, well, it's not the outcome that most all of us were expecting or wanted, but how do you feel about this match? So here's this girl who wins her first Grand Slam tournament, and the announcer's going up to the girl that she just beat pretty handily in 2 sets.
I hate that.
Oh, Serena, we feel so bad for you. It's not the outcome that we all wanted. What do you think? And this little girl's over there bawling her eyes out. And Serena, she finally, to her credit, at some point said, but wait a minute, it's not about me. It's about her. The problem is they'd spent it all about her, including her making it about her. She is a spoiled brat. I'm not a big tennis fan. I haven't really been a Serena fan from day one. I'm completely not a Serena fan at all. Is she the greatest women's tennis player of all time? Probably. Yes, she is. I think that her attitude of, I'm the greatest and I know it and I'm going to tell you and it's all about me and oh man, I lost, I screwed up, somebody didn't beat me, I lost. I just think I'm over the whole Serena Williams thing, and I think that she might be the greatest tennis player that ever lived, but she doesn't act like it, and she just treated this poor girl so bad that I'm done with her. And I don't know. I just think that it was probably one of the worst presentations of sportsmanship I've ever seen in my life.
I agree. Hey, TJ, if you're still on, you're being called out in our fantasy football league.
Uh-oh.
Serena's a brat. She had another blow up that was worse at the U.S. Open before.
Oh yeah, when they accused her of a foot fault a couple of years ago.
Right.
And she went off on the linesman. I mean, basically calling her everything but see you in Toledo.
Nice. See you next Tuesday, huh?
Yeah.
TJ, you're being called out. Fantasy football. You started Tyler Lockett over Deshaun Jackson. Deshaun Jackson, who is Ryan Fitzpatrick's number one option in Tampa Bay, and in the first quarter already has 24.5 points in our league. You're one target, one catch, 75 yards for a touchdown. He has the 40-yard bonus and the 40-yard touchdown bonus. The talk is that you don't deserve Deshaun Jackson and you need to put him on the trade block, TJ. So, yeah, about that. We're going to have to talk because that's a Greg Verosa move. Actually, that's a Greg Bowl move. Damn you, TJ. Anyways, anything else you want to talk on before we call it a day?
Nope, I think I'm good. I just, that Serena thing's been bugging me all week, so I just think it's it's not a sexist thing. It's a spoiled brat thing.
And I'm going to be honest, I'm so glad that she pulled the sexist card and not the race card because they're just say you lost, move on, get the next one. Kill the chick next time you play her on the court because you know you can. You know you probably will. Just let it go. Anything else? Like I said, anything else you want to talk about? Any football? Any? How you doing in fantasy?
I suck.
I went 3-1 last week in my 4 leagues.
I went 1 and 2, and the 2 were not even close.
Nice. I think the one I lost was by a couple points.
I won one by 3 points and lost by a whole lot more.
I was tied in TJ's league. I was tied going into the fourth quarter of Monday night, and the Rams defense had that pick 6 on Carr, and that's how I won the game.
No shit.
Triple G was very gracious about being robbed last night. I thought I saw it the other way around, but the visit was incredible by Douglas Murray.
He didn't. How could he be gracious? He didn't do any interviews. He refused to shake.
I think James was being sarcastic.
I hope so, because our boy Joe Ganitis was heaping all kinds of praise over Triple G, how good he looked and how he purported himself. So
I didn't see the fight, but I heard it was boring. I mean, I heard it was a good fight, but everyone was predicting a knockout, and it didn't happen. So the visit was incredible by Douglas Murray and the Sharks announcer. Steve, that was super cool. I shared the video on our page if anyone wants to go check it out. And yeah, Sharks hockey. I almost said ball. Sharks hockey is almost back.
yeah,
You got to get me a sweater. Maybe I'll get me a
jersey.
they're called sweaters. Kling. What was his name? Anyways, Chris Christopherson, was that his name? I don't know. Anyways, I forgot already. It's been a long morning. I might get myself one of his jerseys. But yeah, it is time for football.
Oh wait a minute! I gotta apologize to Keith. The great and classy Triple G refusing to talk after the break.
Oh, he was ripping him.
Yeah, sore loser. Oh no, the one that I disagreed with him is he had to take on Serena, and of course he took Serena's side because Keith is the man of the oppressed.
Yeah, he sure is.
Yeah.
But yeah, I got to go fire up the barbecue. I got some ribs and some tri-tip going on, or
What
I should
time-
say the smoker.
What time am I coming over?
1 o'clock,
Yeah, I got a meeting.
1:30, whatever time your meeting's over. Defense is stacked. Yeah, it's going to be good. Huge trade acquired Eric Carlson. There you go. I don't know why I said Klinghoffer. Or whatever I said. I don't know. Anyways, that was our show.
All right.
Week 2 is started. It's time for football. For Greg Veroza. Oh, by the way, 4 o'clock Eastern, right? Or 4 o'clock Pacific. These two things are being defended in Hell in a Cell.
Brock Lesnar.
Is he wrestling
He
Razor
is
Ramon?
not there.
Is Razor Ramon?
Yeah, Razor Ramon's coming out of retirement for today only.
So he was the picker on College Game Day yesterday. I had to go.
No, Roman Reigns was, not Razor Ramon.
I thought they were the same guy.
No. Razor Ramon was from NWO back in the day with Hulk Hogan and Kevin Nash. He had the toothpick, he'd throw it. Roman Reigns is the new up and coming Hulk Hogan, basically.
Oh, okay. So I'm sorry.
Yeah, he was the picker on College Game Day.
So he was, but he's gone by another name too, hasn't he?
No, this guy's new. He's only been around for 4 or 5 years.
I thought he had a different name.
Nope.
Did
And
Razor Ramon have a different name?
Razor Ramon was
Kevin something or
No, he was with Kevin Nash. It was Razor Ramon was Scott Hall.
Scott?
No, yeah, Scott.
Yeah. Okay.
But yeah, that was like 90s lore right there. But yeah, no
That's-
Brock Lesnar. Not this week at least. But in
Is he getting ready for his
UFC debut?
UFC
again.
debut?
Yeah, but in like 3 weeks, I think, is the next pay-per-view. It's from Melbourne, Australia. They're
Oh,
doing, like,
really?
a special show.
Wow.
And it's Triple H versus The Undertaker.
Oh God.
And guess who the guest referee is?
I don't know.
Mick Foley.
Oh shit. So whoever the heel is going to get beat up by Mick Foley and the other
Pretty
guy.
much.
Yeah.
Hey, Chico Razor Ramon. Hell yeah, there he is. All right. For him, on me, we're out.
Night, Larry.